You have some explaining to do. Covered in mud. Caught standing by an open grave in the middle of the night. Someone has been busy. I have a few questions. And let's start with the obvious. Whose grave were you digging? And why? No explanation. That's okay. Sitting in silence is one of my favourite things to do. We'll wait. Won't we, Thing? There's no point trying to wriggle away. I cable tied you to the chair after I brought you up here. I considered it a necessary measure, in case a suspect tried to escape. But you look confused as to how you got here, so allow me to explain. I was taking my usual midnight stroll through the cemetery before getting into bed, but then I heard a noise that caught my attention. It wasn't the usual comforting sounds of ghostly spirits howling as they passed through the graveyard. No, this was something different. It was the sound of digging. I usually like it when the graveyard is unsettling and misty, but tonight it worked against me. I couldn't see the digging. I could only hear it. So naturally I had to investigate. I followed the sound of the digging until I was right up at the spot, and then all of a sudden it stopped. But that's when I found you, covered in dirt, standing over the open grave that you had just dug up. So, you need to tell me what you were doing and why. I'd think very carefully before you decide not to say anything. Thing can be very persuasive. Exactly. But one step at a time. No need to threaten our guest so soon. How about these? Conkers. They have an ugly, spiky, threatening shell. Ugly, spiky, threatening shell. But on the inside, something smooth and not threatening at all. They're deceptive, like you. I have a feeling that you're not what you appear to be. And I can't put my finger on it. So, tell me, what were you doing digging in the graveyard? Were you looking for something? An object? A person? Or is digging up dead bodies just a hobby of yours? Because that last one I could understand. No answer still. Okay. Put out your hand and clasp the spiky, prickly conker shells like that. And every time you don't answer one of my questions, I will squeeze your hand around these prickly, spiky conker shells a little bit tighter. Understand? Okay. Why were you in the graveyard? Oh. Do you hear that thing? They don't know. Well then, better clasp your hand around the prickly conker shells. Squeeze into the spiky conker shells. Some light pressure on spikes helps encourage memory, in my experience. So, squeeze. Maybe you're a pawn in somebody else's game. Did someone put you up to this? Tell me, who do you work for? You still don't know? Well then, guess we better squeeze into the prickly conker shell. You're not bothered by this at all, are you? Thing, we need to up the ante. I don't believe you when you say you don't know how you got into that graveyard. What do you expect me to believe? That you just slept walk your way there? I don't think so. And I'm not ready to let this go just because you don't want to talk. So, maybe this will help jog your memory. I don't suppose you like eating eyeballs, do you? This one came from a badger that was killed on the side of the road. The badger made for a delicious meal earlier today, but I don't let any part of roadkill go to waste. Squishy, eyeball, juicy, little eyeball, squishy, little, juicy, little eyeball. If you don't start talking, I will force feed this eyeball to you. Got that? Are you an outcast or a normie? I feel like that's a straightforward enough question to answer. And what is your name? Progress. Okay. Why did you come to the graveyard tonight? And this is where we run into trouble. Here comes the eyeball. You don't seem smart enough to have concocted any kind of great plan. Are you working for someone? Okay, well, if you won't answer that, then what were you digging for? You know, the silent treatment doesn't work very well on someone that enjoys it. But anyway, it ran out of chances. So, here comes this squishy eyeball. You can't just leave that sat in your mouth forever. You know, eyeballs pop when you bite into them, and they're full of goo on the inside. It's both unsettling and enjoyable. Although hopefully for you it will just be unsettling. Now, bite it. Unless you want to spit it out so that you can start talking. Well, do you feel like talking now you've had some eyeball juice to moisten your throat? No. What can I do to get you to talk? What? I'm not going to waste the other eyeball. They're delicious. I just wasn't expecting our guest to think that. It's suspicious. Okay, fine. How about this? You don't mind the spikes of a prickly conker shell, and you don't mind the juice of a roadkill badger eyeball. But how about this? This deadly nightshade. Even just the smallest drop can take down the strongest of creatures. So you don't stand a chance. I took down a high-down serial killer with it in this past month alone. Deadly nightshade. Poison. Consider this your last chance to start talking before I make your silence permanent. Why were you in the graveyard at midnight? Do you always dig for company, or was this a special occasion? Did you choose this grave at random, or did you know the occupant personally? Like I said, this is your final chance to start talking. And what exactly were you hoping to find? Bones? jewellery, closure. You maintain you don't know the answer to any of these questions. Well, do you recognise this? It's not just any feather. It's a dove feather. And dove feathers are very rare and very expensive. And that grave was full of them. And interestingly, I have realised, so are you. Or more specifically, your coat is stuffed full of them. You left a trail of these, like breadcrumbs behind you. They were falling out of your coat all the way up here. And, like I said, that grave was full of them. So, I know for a fact that you were in that grave. You were in the grave. Pale as a ghost, with soulless eyes. You have no recollection of digging up that grave because you didn't. You were the one that was in it. Interesting. Tell me, why would somebody want to dig you up? Do you serve any particular purpose when you're alive? You have money though. You must do. Not everybody gets buried in a dove feather coat. Probably the type to get buried alongside some family heirlooms as well. Oh, you were buried alongside family heirlooms. I was just joking. Well then, it appears whoever dug you up did not intend to resurrect you at all. That part was a mistake. They were stealing from you. Well, I'm pleased to say you are no longer a suspect in this investigation. You are the victim. I would say congratulations, but I'm not actually sure whether or not that's good news from your perspective. And I apologise for the misunderstanding. Let me cut you out of this chair. Well then, the question becomes, who dares disturb the dead for gold? We will help you find your thief and bring them to justice, won't we, Thing? And once we've found them, and your treasures are returned, I will put you back in your grave personally. I look forward to that.